Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. I love every time we have her on, we get a view of how this whole psychic mediumship works, how messages come from the other side. We're going to dig into that today even further. And she's very unique in terms of not just a psychic medium, she's also a spiritual healer at Design Your Life Spiritual Studio. And it's great to have her back with us. Psychic medium Judy is on the program. How you doing today?
I'm really good. How are you?
Very well, very well. And I know we're starting with a story. You told me I had a story. I have no idea what this story is about. I know it's, I guess, loosely connected to mediumship, but let's go there. Tell us the story.
Okay, so one day this young lady came in, and very lovely young girl, and she wanted to know about her father, who was very sick. So I took her hands and focused, and I saw her father, and I got a sensation that he had bowel cancer. And she said, well, they haven't decided yet what he has, but that's an option. I'm going to mention it to them. And I said, okay. She said, when is he going to pass? And I said, well, love, I really don't like to answer those questions, because it's not really my thing. If he does or he doesn't, it's really up to the Lord. And that makes me a little uncomfortable, because you may do things that change things. And she says, yes. And she says, and that's why I'm here. She said, because if he passes, we have a lot of things that we need to put in writing before he goes. And she said, if we don't get all this done, it's going to be such a mess. It's not just going to be grief, it's going to be a mess. And I said, well, I do feel he has stomach cancer, and I do think that it's moved to his bowels. I think they've left it a little too long. So I do think he's going to pass. And this was in November-ish. And she said, well, when do you think? And I said, well, I'm seeing April, but I can't tell you for sure. It's just that's the feeling I've got. He's showing me spring, he's showing me, and he knows he's passing too. So she said, okay. And then we finished up her reading, did some stuff for her and everything else. And then about May the next year, this young lady come in, and it was the same young lady, and I have a really good memory, but I didn't actually recognize her because she'd lost a considerable amount of weight, and she looked different. And she came in, and she said, I sat her down and I took her hands and I said, oh, someone's passed and they're trying to talk to you. And she said, okay, thank you. And I says, but it's really weird because he's hiding behind a tree. Like I can see him, but he doesn't want me to see him. And he's hiding behind a tree. And she looked at me, and then she burst out laughing, and she said, well, he would. And I said, what do you mean he would? She says, well, he's a Jehovah's Witness, and he didn't believe in this stuff.
Wow.
So that was such an interesting thing for me. I thought about it for so long, because I do believe that what we believe in is what we get. So for him, he didn't want to believe that he could see us. So he didn't, it wasn't part of his belief system. So even when we pass over, we kind of have that need to be right.
Wow. So would it be safe to assume that he was watching, but he didn't want anybody like you to know that he was watching, so he was kind of hiding?
That's how I felt, yes.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to validate that, yes, people on this side can see him.
Wow.
And it was a penny dropping moment for me. And it was, I got so much out of that. And I've thought about that so many times, how he still wanted to be right. It was important to him that we couldn't do that on this side, even though I he had died of stomach cancer. It had spread to his bowels. He did die in the April. And I'm not promising anybody, if you phone me, that I'm going to give you that information. It just so happened that this was really strong. And after that, I've thought about it a lot. So if we believe we're going to see our loved ones when we pass over, I'm absolutely sure our loved ones are there waiting for us.
You're not so sure.
I am sure.
Oh,
I'm 100% sure they are.
wow.
I'm 100% sure that they are there waiting, and they're introducing us to our ancestors and other people and things like that. But that's only if you believe it.
You would have to, okay, so let's break this down into little pieces here.
Okay.
You would have to believe it while you're alive.
At least on your deathbed, yes.
It's almost as if you can't go through that door over there unless you believe that you will connect with your loved ones. Because if you don't believe, you're going through the other door, I guess, because you're not going to see them.
I don't think that's it either. I think we're manifesting our death as well. I think we in a way, we manifest our journey through to the other side. And if we want our journey to be difficult, it can be difficult. A lot of people say that they have all the memories of everybody they hurt in their lifetime. And so they spend a time, and this is just reading things, and they spend a time going through and feeling really guilty about things that they've done. And then if they come back and they are resuscitated into here again, they change completely. They become much nicer people because they don't ever want to inflict hurt again, because they've got to feel the hurt they inflicted on other people. And I
Wow.
have seen that. I've seen people change so much that it's incredible. I think one of the reasons for mediumship is and one of the reasons we're given the gift is to give comfort to people that are here, that our souls go on and who we are is still who we are. And
Hmm.
then they enjoy that feeling, you know?
Do you, when you're out in public, you're just passing people and such, go to a grocery store, are you picking up on things around you?
Not really.
So you have
I
to be intentional to do a reading?
I do, yes. When I was young, it was very difficult to close it. But if you don't learn to close it, you actually go nuts. Because you start to think, what's true, what isn't true? Did I really hear that? Was this it? What am I doing? And so many things can come at you at the same time. You feel like you're in a vortex, but the vortex isn't a nice vortex. It's confusing. So I studied with the gypsies for a while because they were very prevalent in our area in the Cotswolds where I grew up. And she told me to do math. She said, if you start adding up things, you can't be out there because you have to use your conscious mind to do mathematics. So if I'm going into a place where there's a lot of people, I usually do a little bit of addition. Before I leave work, I always do addition because if I don't, I might not make it home.
So am I
You
getting
know,
this right? Now hold on, Judy. Do I have this right? So if you're going into a room or whatever it is, if you need to refocus yourself away from any of the energy, spirits, connection, whatever, you just start doing math in your head because that
that's
that
right.
is you could be it could be math, it could be you're listening to a song lyric, just anything to take you out of your headspace from the reading side of things.
Yes.
Wow.
And the reason I find math the best is it's very quick. You can do it very quickly. I mean, you
Maybe
can
for you, but not for me.
okay, but if you're listening to a song, you can still stay sort of on the other side.
I hear
I
you.
can anyway.
Mm.
But if I'm doing math, it takes my conscious intention to do the math and it takes me out of the other side or the in between, the ethers as I call them.
So we've identified that our loved ones are on the other side and there to welcome us when we cross over.
Yes.
I have that correct. Okay. Um, what else can you tell us?
Um I think I find that the colors are more spectacular. I see brightness and I see beauty that I haven't seen here. There is still learning going on. There's still all this discussions about, is this the way it is? Is that the way it is? People are still improving, learning to love better, learning to understand. And the number one thing is they're learning not to judge. Does that make sense?
It does. And I find it fascinating that it still continues on the other side.
Absolutely, it does. So, for example, I have spent so much time with this man on the other side that wants to hide from me, and I've had so many chats with him, and we have our little talks, and it's like he really wants to believe only 144,000 get to heaven, and all of the things that he learned on this side, but now he's learning that other things are okay as well.
Who is this person?
He was a Jehovah Witness.
Oh,
And he
we're
was
still
the
talking about the
father.
same.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Same gentleman. Gotcha.
So
Okay.
the same gentleman I've had many continual talks with,
Wow.
and because he was so surprised that I could see him, and it was just he came back a few times, but like as I was going to sleep and things like that, and it was just so interesting. I believe I wrote about it in my book because it was such an interesting thing to have happen. That he was actually on the other side, but still arguing with me. I couldn't see him.
Why him? Why, a lot of people, I'm sure you've done readings for with loved ones who have passed over, right? Why was this gentleman wanted to get your attention?
Because he still wanted to prove or to say to me, this isn't real. You're not really seeing me. You
Okay.
can't be seeing me.
Right. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so, and that's about judgment, right? Which is the number one thing. I teach everybody love is accepting the other person exactly the way they are and exactly the way they are not.
Unconditional.
Unconditional. You just love each other and you accept each other the way you are. In our world, in our understanding, we're judging other people. We're judging whether they're right or wrong, whether their religion is right, whether their beliefs are right, whether this is it. And we're fighting and we're trying to make other people believe what we believe. You know, the greatest gift you can give another person is to allow them to be wrong.
Mm.
We don't have to fight over it.
Is it ultimately, if somebody's wrong, somebody's got to be right?
No, no.
Mm. So, question.
Hmm.
You always hear people who have passed and come back describe the white light.
Hmm.
It's always the white light. What is that?
The white light is the opening of the tunnel over to the other side. The
Mm.
best description I ever saw of it was in Ghost, the movie Ghost.
Give me that. It's been a while. Remember the movie?
Yeah, but when he went through that white light, it was what I see when people pass.
So it's just an entryway to
Yes,
where we go.
yes.
Wow.
And along the way, so for example, do you want to talk suicide? We'll talk suicide a few minutes. So if you take your own life, your belief is you don't deserve to go to the other side. And that's in every religion. To take your own life is a sin. So when people that take their own life go into the tunnel, they kind of get a little stuck. It's like what the Catholics describe as purgatory. So they don't think they deserve to go to the other side. So they're in the tunnel for a little while. But if there's someone on the other side, like say example, your mother was already there and your mother loves you, she'll come and get you out of that tunnel and she'll take you over to the other side. If there's someone here that really loves you and they feel you're stuck, and I've had this happen and they feel you're stuck, And then you help them to go into that tunnel and take them to the other side. So there is things that happen in that tunnel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting how your loved ones or one comes and gets you.
Oh, they absolutely do. And that love is so strong.
I love your description of the vivid colors. Like I see it in my mind, how everything just seems on the other side so rich.
Yes, it is. It's rich. It's beautiful. It's totally, absolutely calm. And when people are discussing things on the other side, I kind of get a little picture of like what we anticipated the Romans were like when they would all talk and be in their clubs and everybody was talking. I sort of see it a little bit like that, but there's no anger. It's interest. It's not anger.
Wow.
It's not that I have to make you believe what I believe. It's like I want to understand why you believe what you believe, which is a totally different way of looking at it.
It really is.
Yeah,
Um, and even understanding why somebody doesn't believe.
absolutely.
Hmm. Wow. Um, a lot of these things that we talk about are these things that you've learned or through your own experience validated in the last number of years, or does this go way back for you?
A bit of both. The um the Jehovah Witness gentleman, that was about 11 years ago. And it's still very much in my head because every once in a while I feel him. I just feel him pop in and have a little discussion with me. But I know he's growing and I know he's starting to allow himself to be aware of everything around him. He doesn't have to hide behind the tree anymore. Um, a lot was from when I was a child. I mean, I spent so much time with the gypsies, and one in particular, and she taught me how to read palms, and she taught me how to focus and how to breathe and get into these states because I had a natural gift and everybody knew about it. So, yeah, I learned a lot. But
Mhm.
as you start to grow older, like I said, it was important for me to find ways to help other people.
Well, certainly a help in terms of us understanding the
Yeah,
process as we are
exactly.
today. Um,
Yes.
he validates and answers a lot of questions. And this gentleman who hid behind the tree, is he always watching his daughter?
Um,
Or watching over her, if you will?
yes. He is watching over her. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Have you ever noticed that people after they die, the loved ones, things will happen like kind of magically?
How do you mean?
Well, after my mother died, I found out I went to a restaurant that I'd never been to before, and I walked into this restaurant, and there was my other half sitting with another woman. So it was like she wanted me to know,
Okay.
and things like that. So you open your eyes somewhat,
Oh,
and you just know they're guiding you.
I can't even use words to agree with you more.
Yeah,
100 million%. And my mom passed, it's coming up on 6 years
yeah.
all the time. And actually,
Mhm.
I asked her last night, Mom, send me a sign. It's been a while. I need some reassurance. Give me some. Um, I could fill 15 podcasts, even in 6 years, of the things that she presented, and I'm skeptical. They are very specific. I mean, if a butterfly going by, support you. Finding a penny, heads up. If that's good for you, wonderful. Doesn't work for me. I need specifics. Um, I'll share one in 30 seconds, real quick. I had
Okay.
somebody who I worked with in radio many years. We were super successful. She passed away last summer. Suddenly, it's kind of a
Hmm.
mind blow. I was like, I just couldn't believe it. And that she passed like on a Wednesday. And Now it's Friday, and usually I just, go out hanging with some friends. Something said, no, you need to be by yourself. You need to take time to reflect. I'm like, I'm going to follow what's in my mind, grab my dog, go into town. Never really take him into town. It's kind of a new experience. I stop by a brewery, I grab a pint. They're doing karaoke. I'm sitting there with my dog, and I had vibe my mom. I was like, Mom, give me a sign that it's kind of a rough time. Like, wow, like this girl was wonderful that I worked with. And the first song that the person asked for in karaoke was Bette Midler, The Rose. The Rose is my mom's name. So I
Oh,
was like,
how lovely.
but wait, there's more. That would have been great. Second song. This is in order. Now I work with this woman in radio. The second song was On the Radio by Donna Summer. The third song was the band Rush, Spirit of Radio. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you. They're from Canada.
Yeah.
Those three right there were, I was like, gotcha, Mom, grabbed my dog, and I just walked on. And then I thought about it deeper. And it turns out that that song On the Radio from Donna Summer was the first time I was ever on the radio. And that song, The Rose by Bette Midler, it was the year after that song when I started professionally in radio when I was still a kid. And
Wow.
that's from my mom sent that to me. And I swear she was telling me, go here, don't go. You need to have time and walk into town. And one of many signs. But if I wasn't open to it, I wouldn't have gotten it. Now I'm open to it as much as I can be. We got a lot of distractions going on. How can we receive those signs? Do you believe they're all around us, but we don't see them?
Oh, absolutely. They're all around us. That's why it's so effective in some ways when people come to see me, because, for example, it was a frog, and I had no idea why I kept seeing this frog. And I just kept seeing this frog, and I said, he keeps showing me a frog. Because in the end, I just had to say it, right? Because I'm thinking, oh, I'm losing my mind. And she says, oh no, we've got a great big welcome frog on our front door. So after that, every time she walks in the house, she knows he's seeing her and he's saying hi and loving her. So sometimes we just need somebody else to validate it for us
Mm-hmm.
because we don't actually believe it in ourselves.
Agreed.
I'll tell you a funny one with my mom. My mother, she didn't. We were all psychic, gone through the family. She knew all about it, but she didn't want any part of it. But she was extremely sensitive. So she's been on the other side now 13 years. And my granddaughter and her father and kids all live with me at my house. So I was never the greatest housekeeper in the world because I was always too busy doing everything else. And so my mom would always come and organize my house and do all this for me. So this particular night, I'm in my granddaughter's bedroom and I'm cleaning up her bedroom. And it was a tip. And I'm thinking about my mother going, oh, our Judith, couldn't you do this better? Why can't you do this? Because she would nag. She was a British woman, as you can imagine. And all of a sudden, the lights in the hall start to flash as if she was laughing her head off at me. And I looked down and there was a whole little pile of dimes on the floor. So I knew that my mother was getting a chuckle out of me doing exactly what she had been doing at my age.
Wow.
And it's just so neat. So you can look out there and you see signs. You don't really need somebody else to show it. But sometimes you need validation that what you're seeing is the real thing.
Yeah. Oh, I gotcha. And there's probably so many more signs that I've missed. I didn't even pick up on.
I'm
Um,
sure.
there's some you can't deny. And then for anybody that, I'm skeptical. Yes, but I can't explain what I see because it's so specific. But
Absolutely.
what's odd is, and we're out of time here, but I wonder why some relatives come through and some don't. I don't know if I've ever asked you that. Any reason?
Well, just like when you're on this side, there's people that you talk a lot to and you share a lot to and you're very close to, and they're not necessarily that close to you, but also they're shy.
Hmm.
It's something to do with their personality. Like, to talk to my dad is very hard. But it was very
Your dad,
hard.
on when he was alive, you're saying?
After he passed.
Okay.
Was very hard. And yet when he was here, he would talk. But he was also very, very, very sorry, that's my cat saying hello.
I love it. You make me think I should bring my cats here to work.
Oh, I know. Just love them. But yeah, so I don't know why some will come. But if you call them, sometimes they come. Like, I've had people ask to speak to somebody specific, and after a few minutes, they will come through.
That goes back to what I've always wondered, and you just validated that again, is ask for a sign.
Yeah.
You need to ask. Even, our spirit guides, are there for us. They're not going to intervene unless you ask them. They're just not going to do it. That's what I've always heard. Is that
Well,
true?
sometimes they do. I swear to God, they've saved my life at least twice.
I guess they intervene when they know that they need to.
Yeah.
Wow. Judy, how do we find you and your kitty?
Isn't she beautiful?
What's her name?
Her name is Elijah.
Yeah, she is beautiful. Wow.
Yes.
she almost looks like a generated AI cat. Like,
yes, she does.
So perfect. She just doesn't look real.
Yeah, she's British, the same one that Taylor Swift has. Yeah.
What's her name again? I want to remember this.
Eliza. She's a beautiful cat. So how you get me is 587-429-7303. You can go to my website, which is dylstudio.ca. You can book online. At the moment, I'm in Britain.
Oh, wow. Okay, didn't know.
Yeah, I'm in Britain, but it's still really good. So you can phone me early in the morning, and it's afternoon here. And yeah, you can reach me like that, or through my email, judyappoint@gmail.com.
Judy, wonderful talking with you. Thank you for the insight and the validation of things that I and many of us wonder about. Nobody we can ask these questions to, so you're right, and I appreciate that. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. See you next week.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the mytuner-radio, online radio box, and simpleradio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.